All right, next section, the NTI work, it's 8-4 in your textbook. Two parts here, there's also notes here, and there are worksheets. A lot of people have already done the notes. Some people are started on the worksheets, so we've got them done. Not too bad. This is about factoring, okay? Now, factoring is something that's kind of, we did a little bit of it in the last section, but factoring is like unmultiplying something. So if you got two things that are multiplied together to give you a number, when you factor them, you break it apart into that thing. So if I had 15, okay, I can turn 15 into 5 times 3. That would be factored, okay? That's breaking it apart. It's unmultiplying. It's not really necessarily dividing. It's just breaking it into two, breaking it back into multiplication. Taking something that's already been multiplied together and turn it back to where you started. Okay, so it's kind of the opposite of that. And it's not terrible, especially if you remember your prime numbers. So that's what we're going to do first. We are going to list our prime numbers. This is what you got to do, okay? So remember the prime numbers are numbers that the only thing that go into them is 1 and its step. So we've got 2, 3, 5, 7. That's all. Okay, you don't need anything bigger than that. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each one of these terms. Here's an example I've got for you. I got this right here. I'm going to break these down into their prime numbers. Okay. So right here, I'm just going to start listing them. Okay. So I've got 30, x squared, 10x, and 5. And I'm going to break them down into prime numbers. Okay. Well, 30. How can I get 30 by multiplying? I can do 15 times 2. That's a good way to do it. All right. So let's do 15 times 2. Okay. 15 is 5 times 3. Oh, well, look at that. Those are all prime. Okay. So my terms are going to be 5 times 3 times 2. Okay. And I don't really need this one anymore. It's kind of gone once I break it down. And to get x squared, it's going to be x times x. Okay. So I'm just going to actually I'm going to do this. I'm going to move this down so you can see it a little bit easier. And I'm going to rewrite it. Okay. So to multiply this together, just my prime numbers is 5 times 3 times 2 times x times x. Okay? All right, now let's do the same thing with 10. 10's a little easier, so you don't have to do as much there. Okay, so in order to get 10x, I'll multiply 5 times 2. Oops, let's do that again. Multiply 5 times 2. And to get x, I'm just multiplying x. Okay? And 5 is already a prime number, so I don't have to do anything. It would just be 5, or 5 times 2, if you want to do it that way. All right, now I've got these three, the 3 lines of red. Okay, that's where I've broken them down into things. I have to see what they all have in common. Okay, what do they all have the same? All right, so the first thing I see, they all have 1, 5. Okay, they all have 1, 5. They don't all have a 3. They don't all have a 2. They don't all have an x. So what I've just done, I factored it. Okay, I figured out what the prime factor is. So I'm pulling this out to the outside, and what I have left on the inside is this. Look at this. I can use this right here, the parts that I never used, and I can go ahead and fill them in. So this part, and this part is what's going to be left on the inside of the parentheses once I pull that out. It would be the same as taking this original thing and dividing it by 5. Okay. So on the inside, 2 times 3 is 6. X times x is x squared. So 6x squared. 2 times x is just 2x, and 1. And that's my answer, okay? If you multiplied this back out, like took this and distributed it to all 3 of these terms, if you noticed, you would just end up right back here where you started, at 30x squared plus 10x plus 5, okay? So same thing, it's just unmultiplying, okay? It's the opposite of multiplying, it's factoring. So that one's not terrible. Let's do one more. This one's got a little bit more to it. Let's go ahead and move this down again. Actually, that's not right there. Just erase this. Don't be confused. All right. So the next one, it's up here on the board. We have 3x. Let's put the other in. I'll go ahead and list them all. Okay. 3x to the 5th minus 18x squared minus 6x. This one does have some negatives in it. On the negatives, I wouldn't worry about them unless they all have a negative. Okay, if they all have a negative, the thing you pull to the outside would be a negative. If they don't all have a negative, you don't even have to worry about the negatives. Okay, so if the 3 is positive, I don't really have to worry about it. All right, so I'm going to start breaking these down into their parts. 3x to the 5th, 3 is already prime, so that just turns into 3 times 1 times x, 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 right? 5 of them. Okay? Broken down into its parts. 18 x cubed, or x squared turns 18. I can get that by doing what? 3 times 6. So 6 times 3. And this breaks down into 2 times 3. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and bring this one down. I'm just rewriting it down here so it makes more sense. Okay? So 2 times 3 times 3. And then x squared is x times x. Alright, so this part right here. Okay? And the next part, next one, negative 6x. 6, once again, breaks down into 2 times 3, and x just stays right there. All right, so now I've got to look back and see what they all have in common. It looks to me like they all have at least 1, 3. 3. And it looks like they all have at least 1 x. Okay, so I'm going to pull those numbers to the outside. I'm going to pull a 3x to the outside. If, for some reason, let's say I was doing this and I did get like 2 whole numbers on the inside that they all had in common, I would multiply them together on the outside. So if I got like a 2 and a 5 on the inside, then my greatest common factor would be 10. I could pull all that. But in both the examples I just did, we just got 1 number that was the larger, or that was the common factor. So I'm going to pull it to the outside. I'm going to pull a 3x to the outside. And everything that I have left on the inside, I just put it together. So I've got 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. So 1x to the 4th. On the next one, I've got a 2 and a 3 and an x. 2 times 3 is 6, and then x, so plus 6x. And on the last one, the only thing I have left is just a 2. So I'll just write it down. And that's almost my answer, except I forgot one thing. It's supposed to be negative signs. These 2 right here were negative. That was a negative, that was a negative. So these have to be actually negative signs. So negative 2. All right, and that would be the factor form of that. If you take this 3, distribute to all 3 things on the inside, you get right back where you started. Okay? So it's factoring, it's unmultiplying. That's what the next section is about. The next section involves quite a bit more. This is pretty simple. The next section is probably one of the more challenging things we can do, and you get to learn how to do it online. So that's awesome. Yeah, so good luck. If you have any questions about this part, let me know. I don't think it's terrible. I think most of you should be able to do this.